If you're juggling multiple businesses here in the UK, you know exactly what I mean when I talk about the VAT headache, right? Well, today we're going to decode a really powerful strategy that could completely change how you operate for the 2025-26 tax year and beyond. We're talking about VAT group registration. And this entire strategic breakdown comes to us from the tax specialists over at My Tax Accountant. They're the experts when it comes to navigating the tricky world of UK tax, so you're in very good hands. So let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? Your businesses are finally taking off, which is brilliant news. But so is the mountain of paperwork, the complexity, and that nagging VAT headache. It's a classic sign of growth, and trust me, you are not the only one feeling that pain. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with that growing headache, then introduce the VAT group as the answer. We'll run through the official eligibility rules, look at the huge strategic wins, but also take a hard look at the risks. And finally, we'll help you figure out if this is the right move for your business empire. Let's jump in. Okay, so first up, let's really dig into that headache. And I'm not just talking about numbers on a page. I'm talking about the real-world friction that eats up your time and slows down your growth. It's a story that many of you are probably living right now. To bring this to life, let's talk about Chloe, an entrepreneur in London. She's got a buzzing coffee shop, a successful online merch store, and a corporate catering service that's really starting to fly. It's the dream. But behind the scenes, she's drowning. She's filing 3 separate VAT returns, which is a huge administrative nightmare. Even worse, her businesses supply each other. The catering service buys coffee from the shop, and the shop staff help run the online store. Every time that happens, she has to legally create a VAT invoice and charge VAT to herself. It just creates this tangled, messy cash flow situation. It's madness. Now, this exact mess that Chloe's in, that's precisely what VAT grouping is designed to solve. Think of it as a strategic tool from HMRC that lets you cut through all that internal noise and unlock some serious efficiencies. So what on earth is it? Well, put simply, a VAT group lets you take 2 or more separate companies and have them treated as one single entity, a single taxable person. But, and this is the key part, only for VAT. In every other way, legally, commercially, they're still their own separate companies. But for VAT, they act as one. And when you put it side by side, the difference is just night and day, really. Before, Chloe has 3 businesses, 3 VAT returns, and all that complex admin. She's stuck charging VAT between her own companies. But with a VA group, boom. 1 VA entity, 1 single VAT return, a much simpler process. And, the best part, no VAT on any of those charges between the companies. The impact on her workload and her cash flow is instant. Okay, this all sounds pretty amazing, right? But hold on, it's not for everyone. HMRC has some very strict rules you've got to meet, so stay with me here because getting these details right is absolutely vital if you're thinking about this. So it really boils down to 3 core things. First, every company in the group has to be a corporate body, so we're talking about limited companies. Sole traders can't join in. Second, each one needs an established presence right here in the UK. And we're not just talking about a mailbox, we mean actual staff and resources on the ground. And third, and this is the big one, there has to be a clear legal structure of control. So what does HMRC mean by control? It's not just about having influence. It's about having the actual power to direct what a company does. The most common way this works is that one parent company owns more than 50% of the voting shares in the others. Or one person could own more than 50% of each company. That control link, it's a non-negotiable, a complete deal breaker. All right, now for the part you've been waiting for, the big strategic wins. Because if you do tick all those boxes, the payoff can be massive, affecting everything from your bank balance to just your general sanity. This is where it gets really good. Honestly, the biggest, most game-changing benefit comes down to this one number, 0. A big, beautiful 0. That is the amount of VAT you charge on anything supplied between the companies inside the group. So for Chloe, when her catering arm buys coffee from her shop, that transaction becomes completely invisible to VAT. That is a huge cash flow win because you're no longer paying out that and then waiting months to claim it back. So to pull it all together, what are the main perks? Well, you're filing just one single VAT return for everyone. That slashes your paperwork and the risk of mistakes. The admin just gets so much easier. As we just saw, your cash flow gets a serious boost. And finally, your internal bookkeeping for all those intercompany sales becomes ridiculously simple. Hey, here's a little pro tip for you, something you might not have thought of. If you're looking for a business loan or trying to get investment, having a VAT group makes your finances look so much cleaner to lenders. It shows you're organized and efficient, which can make you a much more attractive prospect. Okay, but it can't all be good news, right? We need to be real here. This is a powerful strategy, but it comes with some serious responsibilities. So what's the catch? Let's be crystal clear about the risks before you go any further. You know that old saying, one for all and all for one? Well, it applies perfectly here, but with a major financial twist. When you form a VAT group, you are tying the financial fate of your companies together in the eyes of HMRC. And this leads us to the biggest risk of all, joint and several liability. Now, what this means is that if your group owes HMRC, say £50,000 in VAT, HMRC can demand that full amount from any single company in the group. So imagine Chloe's coffee shop is responsible for £40,000 of that bill, but it hits hard times and can't pay. HMRC can legally go after her little merchandise store for the entire 50 grand. It's a massive commitment. Okay, so we've looked at the incredible upsides and the pretty serious downsides. This brings us to the most important question of all. How do you know if this is actually the right strategic move for your businesses? So let's build a picture of the ideal candidate for this. See if this sounds like you. You've got 2 or more UK limited companies. You've got that clear control structure we talked about. There are a lot of transactions happening between these companies. And most importantly, every single one of those companies is financially healthy and stable. If you can say a big yes to all of that, then this could be a total game changer for you. At the end of the day, the question you need to ask yourself is this: is simplifying your operations and boosting your cash flow the key that could unlock the next stage of growth and potential for your businesses? It's a huge question to think about as you plan for 2025. Now, a really important point before we finish up. Everything we've talked about today is for general guidance. It's here to give you an overview, but it is absolutely not a substitute for professional advice that's tailored to your unique situation. So to find out for sure if VAT grouping is the right move for your businesses and to get the application process right, you really must talk to the experts. The team at My Tax Accountant can look at your specific structure and guide you through the whole thing. You can call them on 0208 570 8531, or you can email them at info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk. Thanks for watching.